The Phoenix Podcast has always brought you the best of the best.
I missed on that blessing, but I also regained it in some way.
In seasons 1 and 2, we introduced you to the industry's brightest stars, the ones at the top of their game, the creme de la creme. But season 3 promises to be even more exciting. We're bringing you even more fascinating guests, including the renowned farmer, Patrick Matadi. And to top it all off, our very own host, Ken Sharp, will be stepping out of the interviewer's chair and into the hot seat as he gets interviewed by a surprise guest host.
From the boss, we've been beaten, but we're not beaten yet. We can still rise.
Konapo, ipapo, ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294, the place to be.
Hello and good evening. You are watching Newsplus right here on ZTN Prime. Thank you so much for joining us. It is a Tuesday and my name is Faith Nyaude. A quick look at stories that are making the headlines tonight. Government has approved the implementation of the Community Share Ownership Trust Framework, which will ensure inclusive economic growth and drive rural development. Stay tuned for that story and other highlights from today's post-cabinet media briefing. We shall look at the performance of the Zimbabwe gold. The ZiG since its introduction. The relative stability of the currency has given businesses and individuals breathing space, boosting confidence in transacting in the local currency. Terror erupted in New Lobengula early Monday when masked robbers stormed a nightclub, stabbing 2 staff and robbing a cashier of cash and cell phones. Details on the story coming up here on Newsplus. And in sport, Michael Nees has named the Warriors squad for Bafana Bafana and Lesotho. Now, in our first story this evening, the ZiG month-on-month inflation rate was minus 0.2% in September of 2025, shedding 0.6 percentage points on the August rate of 0.4%. The USD month-on-month inflation remained unchanged at the previous rate of 0%. Now, citizens say they are beginning to feel a sense of stability when they actually go to shop. Our business reporter, Melissa Chachkobo, gives us the details.
It's been a while since Diana Chwanza, a vendor, has increased the prices of her wares. She's confident that if the stability of the ZiG continues, she can scale up her business.
Zvokukwidza mapurayisi tatwane nguva ndichatozive kuti tikagumisira kuzvita zvarini mapurayisi edu ari stable angori panzvimbo ipapo paangangori tatwane time tinambokwidza mapurayisi nekuti kwatinohodhireserwawo anenge angoriwo stable saka nesuwo tinongotengesawo iri pastable.
For veteran shopper Opetunyuke, who has lived through million and trillion-dollar notes, the ZiG has been a strong contender so far. He wants monetary authorities to increase its circulation.
ZiG yaita improvement pamakarenzi akauya, but Reserve Bank haisikuriza manotes kumabhengi. Hationa kuti unisa mabanks here kato haisi, because of mabanks munhu wese anowa neshorty. That's our current.
Meanwhile, Cuthbert Chuchu says he's now able to plan his purchases in a way that felt impossible just a few years ago, when prices would change overnight.
The true balance is I think so far, and I think it's a great progress because for many
Zimbabweans, the talk of inflation rates, interest rates, or even foreign currency reserves is just numbers. What they care about is their money holding value in their pockets? Are they able to make planned purchases for the future? The ZiG month-on-month inflation rate was minus 0.2% in September 2025, shedding 0.6 percentage points from August 0.4%. In USD terms, prices stayed flat at 0%. Recent figures from the Reserve Bank show foreign currency inflows of 10.4 billion United States dollars as at 31 August, compared to 8.2 billion United States dollars in the same period last year, a jump of 26.8%. Market watchers say these inflows are cushioning the local currency and bringing relief to ordinary citizens. Stable prices and a strong currency is what every Zimbabwean wants at the end of the day. Monetary authorities say they're working towards that, and so far reforms are bearing fruit. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I am Melissa Chatkobo in Harare.
Still on money matters, calls are growing louder for Zimbabwe to tap into outside fiscal funding for education as the sector continues to grapple with inadequate resources. The latest plea came at a pre-national budget meeting for education that was in Harare today. Let's get more details in this report.
Legislators, civil society and government met in Harare today to discuss the forthcoming national budget presentation set for November. The talks focused on limited financing for early childhood education and the prospects for increasing allocations in the 2026 budget. Stakeholders are increasingly urging Zimbabwe to explore alternative funding beyond the fiscus to ensure early childhood education is adequately supported.
Therefore, must come up with other taxes that are specifically for funding our education from domestic resources. But I don't recommend that we must go and tax the already burdened Zimbabwean who's paying a lot of taxes. We must identify new revenue opportunities, not to go back to the same taxed person, but to go to those institutions that, for instance, are benefiting hugely.
Last year, the entire education sector, including tertiary, received about 18% of the national budget. Only 2.5% of that went to early childhood education. Both figures fall short of international standards, which require countries to dedicate 20% of the national budget to education and at least 10% of the education budget to early childhood learning. The Education Ministry says it is doing what it can with the funds released, but admits it is not enough.
The Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education has been encouraging a lot of public-private partnerships to supplement government, particularly in respect of infrastructure and construction of schools. You will notice that we have a deficit of upwards of 2,000 schools countrywide, and our greatest need is the construction of new schools, particularly in areas that are new settlement.
Experts say investing in early childhood development delivers greater returns in human capital later in life. Despite repeated calls for more funding, early childhood development remains underfunded in Zimbabwe. The Zimbabwean network of early childhood actors who organized the meeting says it will keep pushing, hoping the 2026 budget will bring better results.
For early childhood development, we are looking forward for more funds to be allocated to early childhood development. Of course, when the funds are allocated, we are looking forward also for the utilization of those funds. And it means the government has also have to disburse the funds on time. And when it comes to the end of the year, the funds which were allocated would have been dispersed and also be utilized.
Calls were also made for government to recruit more trained teachers for the early childhood development level. Shera Munjenjema for ZTN News in Harare.
Now, another news, Vice President Kembo Mahadi has arrived in Japan for the final leg of the Osaka Expo 2025. He was welcomed by Zimbabwe's ambassador to Japan, Mr. Stuart Nyakocho, Permanent Secretary in the VP's office, Dr. Benson Dube, Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare Deputy Minister Mesidina, National Housing and Social Amenities Deputy Minister Musa Ncube, and other government officials. VP Mohadi is set to tour the Zimbabwe Pavilion at the Expo to just have an understanding and appreciation of the work that has been done since it started in the month of April. He is also expected to visit various other pavilions. Now, during his stay, VP Mohadi will also visit some tourist sites in Osaka, a medical facility where regenerative medicine is being showcased, and will also have an experience at the largest public university. Furthermore, a private sector engagement has been slated as part of VP Mohadi's visit, where he will visit a rail components manufacturing firm. You are watching Newsplus. We'll be back shortly after this.
This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come. Let's go!
Wherever you are, whatever your reason, it's on SuperSport all season long. Reconnect and stay connected to DSTV Compact and get the best football on us.
Captain Wally J's about to take you to boot camp.
It's the riveting science and tech show that keeps you up to date with the hottest gizmos on the block and revealing the illustrious and innovative visionaries in Zimbabwe. So much to see, you'll keep swiping.
This cherry red beauty is the Dairy Auto M7 mini electric car.
They've designed our brute force incubator board.
Look at what we've got here.
Solar powered scarecrow was part of the project that I was supposed to complete.
Catch Swipe every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. on ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294. Get the...
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
That guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Welcome back. You are still watching Newsplus. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, the Competition and Tariff Commission has stressed the importance of investigations in guiding tariff and competition policies. Speaking at a national trade tariff validation workshop that was being held in Bulawayo, the Commission's Assistant Director for Tariffs, Cecilia Mashava, said that the organization's work is actually evidence-driven. She said that the Commission derives results from investigations, for example, when there are increased imports of raw materials or finished products in a particular sector.
All right, so what prompted the drafting of these policies, the realization that the country did not have a formal policy to guide the tariff setting, review and implementation process. So without a policy that provides guidance, you find out that the country can arbitrarily adjust tariffs and that can affect other sectors of the economy. So this is trying to ensure that the tariff instrument is used as a tool for economic transformation. Any tariff adjustments that are done should be done following a thorough assessment, and the final outcomes should work towards development of our economy and enhancement of consumer welfare in the country.
The Commission regularly conducts investigations and issues recommendations to promote fair competition and tariff structures that support local industry. Stakeholders say the meeting was progressive and will actually help small to medium enterprises, a key sector in the economy, as they are able to also make their submissions.
Our call really is that we understand that this is a macro level tariff policy, but it has a bearing also at a micro level, because whatever the policy is going to provide for is going to determine how our MSMEs interact with the regional economies. So therefore, we think that this is a good space. Just to remind, we were able to remind the Commission that the tariff policy must enable the MSMEs to be able to compete also regionally and ensure that at least it protects also our biggest economy, because if you look at our economy right now, it's predicated on the MSMEs. 75% plus of our GDP comes from the MSMEs, and therefore our tariff policy must then ensure that it provides for the protection of the productivity of our MSMEs.
Now, a matter that has struck some stakeholders, high adolescent pregnancy rates in Mashonaland West have raised alarm, with the province now ranked second in the country after Mashonaland Central. Latest stats show that 31% of teenagers in the province have experienced pregnancy at some point, compared to the national average of 23%. In contrast, Bulawayo has the lowest rate at just 13%. Health authorities say urgent interventions are needed as drugs and substance abuse continue to fuel the crisis.
And I want to tell you that as March West, we are number 2 national in terms of the high adolescent pregnancy. We are number 2 after March Central. March Central 37%, March West 31%. And then the national adolescent pregnancy is currently at 23%. So you can see in terms of adolescent pregnancy that as members of the press, we've got a duty to help us as an NFPC to raise awareness on the dangers of having sexual activity too early, what we call early sexual gambling. It's a challenge to young people. So we need to support them with various programs that include comprehensive sexuality education, parent-child communication, because once a person gets pregnant when they are young, they may also cause other challenges even in the future. So I'm glad that the ASL champion is here. It's one of our major ways of reaching out to young people.
Now, it is against this background that Mashonaland West has been chosen to host this year's World Contraceptive Day commemorations in Mangura on Friday. Preparations are over 95% complete, with free health services and entertainment lined up, including performances by Sulemani Chimbetu and the Army's Crocodile Sounds Band. Health and Child Care Minister Douglas Mubashora is also expected to officiate at the event, which seeks to raise awareness and curb adolescent pregnancies. World Contraceptive Day is celebrated globally every year on the 26th of September.
Expect fireworks, and all our stakeholders will be there. We'll be providing family planning services and also youth-friendly services. We also have engaged entertainment, where our usual crocodile sounds, and also Mr. Suleiman is coming to entertain our crowd, and we are having poets on that day. And we are not only attending to reproductive health, where about the family planning issues, the cancers, and the cancers of the breast. Ministry of Health will be also providing other services like the TB screening, and they will be also having a laboratory on that day where people will be tested, and their results, they get them there. We are also going to have that. STIs, people are going to be treated.
Some agriculture news now. 50 plant health inspectors have received tablets for digital surveillance from the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. This as a part of efforts to fight pests and diseases that threaten the horticulture sector. The digitization of the surveillance system is meant to ensure that the movement of plants is safe, traceable, and fully compliant with international industry standards.
With one click, the plant protection inspectors can detect, map, and identify pests and diseases affecting a particular plant. For a plant health inspector, Levi Gama, the initiative will go a long way in ensuring that all key pests in the horticulture sector are identified and curbed before spreading into the various regions.
It was a very tiresome job because we used to do the paperwork, and the importance of this digitalization is that we are now able to see the real time when these aspects are being done, especially in terms of data collection in the farms, where we are trying by all means to avoid pest invasion, and as well as have information to also access market, whereby we also have data which is in a format that can be displayed to our marketplaces.
The digital surveillance tablets enable real-time monitoring and facilitate targeted and effective interventions, which are essential for farm managers and importers. One of the participants, Dr. Tinashe Rukanya, said that pest data is crucial for exports as it plays a critical role in countering interceptions and promoting trust between the traders.
We want to go paperless in terms of how we capture our pest data, because pest data is very important. When we do our communications with our trading partners, we need to share accurate pest data so that we don't encounter challenges like interceptions. Say we export disease-contaminated consignment to our trading partners.
About 6 plant protection inspectors undertook the training in Egypt, and they returned to Zimbabwe to share the knowledge with other inspectors. In an interview, the chief director at the Agricultural Research, Innovation and Specialist Services, Dr. Dumsani Kuchwayo, said that there are 5 key pests and diseases crippling exports regionally, and the initiative is essential in assuring trading partners about the state of pests and diseases in the country.
Yes, this training is very critical because it's modernizing our surveillance systems. Our officers will be able to detect real time and map and report on the occurrence of these quarantine pests. And this is going to enable us to reduce interceptions of our export crops.
The data surveillance tool also plays a critical role in managing plants as it advises farmers on the specific timelines to use pesticides. The agricultural officer for International Plant Protection said that they have several applications and softwares on the tablets which are set to ease the detection of pests and diseases.
In the framework of this program, we are able to give the tablets with devices and software that help the officers in the field to collect where are the pests located, the dynamic of this pest, and then give the manager the opportunity to see the dynamic of the pest and have the decision based on the outbreak to decide whether an action is needed.
The digitalization of the surveillance of pests and diseases is an important advancement in the agricultural sector as it enhances accuracy, speed and efficiency in the detection of pests and diseases. For ZTM Prime, I am Mashutu Mambo in Harare.
Now we give you details of one of our headline stories tonight. Government has approved the implementation of the Community Share Ownership Trust Framework, which will ensure inclusive economic growth and drive rural development. This was announced by Information Minister Dr. Jane Van Musore during a post-cabinet media briefing that was held in Harare today. Tavares Wachiwe has more details on that story, including other highlights from today's post-cabinet media briefing.
The implementation of the Community Economic Empowerment Trust follows the government's adoption of rural industrialization as a key industrial development strategy to ensure inclusive economic growth in line with President Mnangagwa's mantra of leaving no one and no place behind. These trusts are anticipated to serve as a crucial mechanism for attracting investments, particularly through collaborations in agro-processing, capitalizing on the local agricultural economy and the village business units that are being developed across the nation. Additionally, communities will receive assistance in establishing industrial parks, collaborating with prospective partners within their local districts.
The Community Economic Empowerment Trusts will be critical vehicles to drive rural industrialization in all districts.
Cabinet also received and noted the report on the 80th United Nations General Assembly, which was held from the 21st to the 30th of September this year in New York. Zimbabwe, which was represented by Foreign Affairs Minister Professor Amun Muruira, had a set of clearly outlined objectives of participation at UNGA 80.
Were to promote multilateral and bilateral cooperation, engage with potential investors, as well as strengthen diaspora engagement.
Zimbabwe is optimistic about its bid for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council for 2027-2028 term. The country has signed reciprocal support arrangements with 80 countries outside of Africa, augmenting the 54 African countries in support of its bid. Voting will take place in June 2026, and Zimbabwe looks to advance Pan-African values in the Security Council.
At this early stage of the campaign, we already have got 54 African countries, plus 80, which gives us 134. The minimum threshold that we need is 128, so it means we are already over that threshold.
Cabinet has also resolved to optimize operations within the reserved sectors, striking a balance between national interests and the attraction of investments into the country. There is exclusive reservation for local citizens in artisanal mining, barbershops, hairdressing and beauty salons, employment agencies, bakeries, advertising agencies, borehole drilling, clearing and customs, valet services, provision of local arts craft, marketing and distribution, tobacco grading and packaging, pharmaceutical retailing, estate agencies, transportation including passenger bus, taxis and car hire services, haulage trucks, hauling and logistics, grain milling, brick molding, quarry mining and granite mining in all spheres. These sectors have low entry barriers, hence the reservation for locals in a bid to foster inclusivity and employment creation in our economy.
These are sectors that would ordinarily be providing support services to bigger sectors within the economy. So the rationale really is to say, as we anticipate accelerated growth of our economy, you would know that we have revised our growth prospect to around 6.6% this year. We need to grow this economy with our people.
As Zimbabwe charts its path towards inclusive economic growth, the government's push for rural industrialization, community empowerment and global engagement signals a nation on the move. Tavares Wechiwe for ZTN Prime.
In other news, armed robbers reportedly stormed a nightclub in Bulawayo's New Lobengula suburb, where they stabbed 2 employees, robbed a cashier of money and cell phones. The attack happened around 3 a.m. on the 29th of September. Bulawayo Deputy Police Spokesperson Assistant Inspector Thandekile Ndlovu said the 45-year-old manager opened the back door after a knock and was immediately confronted by 2 masked suspects armed with a pistol, knife and electric shocker. She was stabbed once at the back of the head, sustaining a deep cut. A male colleague rushed to help but was also stabbed right above the right eye. The robbers allegedly zapped the cashier with an electric shocker and took over $550 and 2 cell phones from her. The suspects then fired a shot into the front glass door before fleeing through the back door.
Police is investigating a case of armed robbery which occurred at a local nightclub in New Lobengula, Bulawayo. On the 29th of September 2025, at around 0300 hours, the manager, a female adult aged 45 of Emma Kandeni, was at work when she heard a knock at the back door of the club. Upon opening the door, she was confronted by 2 accused persons who were wearing face masks, armed with an unidentified leg pistol, a knife and an electric shocker. She screamed for help and they stabbed her with a knife once at the back of the head and she sustained a deep cut.
The injured staff were rushed to the hospital while police investigations into the daring raid are currently ongoing. Now, as many might have noticed, Zimbabwe is experiencing fluctuating weather as the country moves from winter into summer. Cold mornings and evenings are followed by warm, sunny afternoons with occasional showers and thunderstorms that are being recorded in some areas. Now, meteorologists say these swings are caused by different air masses. Cold winds from the southeast bring cooler temperatures, while the sun's approach from the north drives warmer conditions. Westerly cloud bands add moisture, resulting in showers, thunderstorms, strong winds, and even hail. This transitional period gives Zimbabwe the best of both worlds, with weather conditions changing rapidly within a single day. Residents are being advised to dress in layers and take care, especially the elderly and children. The Met Services Department's James Ngoma says that the hot and cold spells are normal for this time of the year.
Thank you very much for that question. Looking at the conditions that we've had, we are seeming to have the odds of both worlds, where we get a bit of cloudy and cold conditions, and then all of a sudden then it becomes very hot and sunny across much of the country, and also we get odd showers or 2. This is because we are in what is called the transition period between winter and summer, where we get the best of both worlds. So we get the cooling conditions from winds that come in from the southeastern parts of the country through South Africa and Mozambique into the interior of the country, and this gives us the cold conditions that we experience during this period. Then because of the approach of the sun from the north back southwards as summer approaches, we get hot conditions as winds come in from the northeastern parts of the country. But however, we also get westerly cloud bands that bring in a bit of moisture, giving us showery weather as well as thunderstorms that are coupled with strong winds and hail, indicative of the approaching summer as well. So we are getting all odds in favor of us, where we get a bit of the southeasterlies, a bit of the northeasterlies with warm weather, and a bit of the showers as well. So that's very normal during this transition period as we approach summer.
Now, in other news, the media has been challenged to play an active role in amplifying adolescent voices on health and rights to help shape narratives that protect young people's rights and hold policymakers accountable. The call was made during a media sensitization meeting that was organized by the Step Up for Adolescents campaign in Harare ahead of a regional convening aimed at tackling barriers to sexual and reproductive health across Southern and East Africa.
We know that the media understands communities. The media can be able to investigate stories that are happening in the communities and can ethically report on issues that are happening within communities. We have seen that sexual reproductive health, sometimes if they are not reported well, they can do more harm to survivors than good. So we are trying to make sure that when stories are published, when stories are coming out, they tell a story that do no harm to survivors.
Restless Development Programs Coordinator Maxo Chonkombe applauded the government for ensuring comprehensive sexual education is taught in schools, but called for more.
Those who are in hard-to-reach areas, in remote areas, they don't have access to this comprehensive sexuality education. So there's need for government to ensure there are youth-friendly health services, there are youth centers in hard-to-reach communities where young people can easily access comprehensive sexuality education. There are teenage pregnancies that are happening, early marriages, gender-based violence, drug abuse. These can be combated with this kind of education given to young people, as they can help them to grow.
You are watching Newsplus. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this.
Got some questions about Showmax? Well, we've got the answers. What is Showmax? Showmax is not a TV channel. It's a streaming service with tons of hit series, movies, and more. Plus, Premier League live on mobile. Just pick what you want and hit play. No schedule or airing times. With Showmax, you watch what you want, when you want, and where you want. For any other queries, find us on Facebook, X, Instagram, or TikTok.
The Phoenix Podcast has always brought you the best of the best.
I missed on that blessing, but I also regained it in some way.
In seasons 1 and 2, we introduced you to the industry's brightest stars, the ones at the top of their game, the creme de la creme. But season 3 promises to be even more exciting. We're bringing you even more fascinating guests, including the renowned farmer, Patrick Matadi. And to top it all off, our very own host, Ken Sharp, will be stepping out of the interviewer's chair and into the hot seat as he gets interviewed by a surprise guest host.
From the boss, we've been beaten, but we're not beaten yet. We can still rise.
Konapo Konapo, Ipapo Ipapo, Bazetian Prime, DSTV Channel 294, the place to be.
Welcome back. You are still watching Newsplus. Now we give you a look at news from around the world. French authorities have opened full-scale investigations into the sudden death of South Africa's ambassador to France, Nkosinathi Manyo Mthethwa. His body was discovered at the Hyatt Hotel in Paris today. South Africa's International Relations Ministry confirmed the passing of the diplomat and former cabinet minister, describing it as a profound national loss. Mthethwa previously served as Minister of Police and later as Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture before being appointed to France in December of last year. He is survived by his wife and children. In Namibia, a fire that ravaged a third of Namibia's Etosha National Park is now contained, according to the country's Environment Minister, Ndelani Daniel. The blaze at the Wildlife Reserve, one of Southern Africa's top tourist attractions, spread outside the park and burned hundreds of thousands of hectares of grazing pasture in regions bordering Angola over a week. Etosha is known for its vast salt pan and can be seen from space and is actually a home to critically endangered black rhinos. At least 9 antelope died in the fires. Now, Daniel said the fires likely started at a charcoal production site that is just outside of that park. In Nigeria, the push to ban the export of raw shea nuts to expand its own domestic shea butter and skincare industry has seen a surge in manufacturing, but some anger from farmers and merchants about the short-term impact. According to media reports, the country supplies 40% of the world's crop of shea nuts, but just 1% of the market share in shea products that is estimated at over $6.5 billion, and the government is actually keen to capitalize on added value rather than remain simply an exporter. However, farmers called on the government to lift this ban, saying that it was hampering their own businesses. The Nigerian government claims that the ban, 6 months in the first instance, will transform the country from exporter to supplier as part of a pro-value addition policy and add about $3 billion to the economy within 2 years.
Yanzu ba riba, yanzu da mun kai kasuwa wanga kwano sai mu sai da shi da $1,200 za mu sai da wanga buhu kuma ya cika mu buhu mu sai da shi $100,000 to yanzu sun ce buhu $60,000 $50,000 wanga yanzu sun ce ma $500.
But Nigeria State is the largest producing shea nut. Some company for pharmaceutical in other countries, then I came here, since we have enough nuts in Nigeria, let them come in and be buying those nuts. And actually, they came in last year, which is 2024, around June, July. That was the time they start coming in to buy this nut. At that time, the price of the nut as of 2024, June, was 330,000 naira per ton.
In Rwanda, crowds celebrated in the capital Kigali, waving flags and dancing to the beat of drums as the UCI Road World Championship 2025 came to a close. It marked the first time the championship was held on African soil. A total of 769 riders from 109 countries took part, with a Slovenian citizen winning the men's elite road race and a Canadian claiming the women's title.
Abanyarwanda muri rusange bitewe n'amateka igihugu cyacu Rwanda rwagize ni ishema ku banyarwanda u Rwanda rwacu rwongeye kogera ku isi hose rwamenyekanye ubwo ngubwo nyine urabibona ko nambaye na Visit Rwanda abanyamahanga bagiye kuza badusura mbese ni ishema n'umutekano n'iki nyine iyo urugo rufite umutekano ruragendwa urabona ko ari umutekano nyine dufite wuzuye nuko murakoze cyane rero.
Global leaders wrapped up the 80th United Nations General Assembly UNGA debate on Monday with a resounding call to confront escalating war, deepening famine, and rising gender-based violence, warning that the cost of inaction is too hard to ignore. Now, in her closing remarks, the General Assembly President noted that 189 UN member states took the floor during the general debate, including 124 heads of state and government. Throughout the week, peace and security emerged as the most resonant theme across all delegations. She stressed that the message conveyed by the representatives from UN member states was clear, that member states must just do more to stem the tide of war as well as violence. The USA war tariff is still ongoing, and now it's affecting the entertainment sector. US President Donald Trump declared on a social media platform on Monday that he would impose a 100% tariff on all movies produced outside the US, escalating his protectionist trade policies into the cultural sector. The announcement follows Trump's initial threat that was in May to target foreign film productions, though he had provided no specifics at that time. The latest detailed declaration marks a significant escalation that could fundamentally disrupt Hollywood's business model, which relies heavily on international co-productions and offshore filming. Now we take a look at some business news.
This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come.
Wherever you are, whatever your reason, it's on SuperSport all season long. Reconnect and stay connected to DSTV Compact and get the best football on us.
Welcome back, gospel music lovers, to another season of My Ultimate Gospel 10. Your ultimate destination for soul-stirring melodies and inspirational stories.
Man, prepare me for a good day.
God is faithful because He's holy.
Like, wow, this is beautiful.
Each week, they'll be revealing their top 10 gospel songs. Meet Miss Becky K, the dynamic and passionate new presenter for Season 3.
If you are ready, let's get into My Ultimate Gospel 10.
Premiering soon, only on ZTN Prime. Stay tuned and let the music uplift your soul.
Welcome back. In our look at business news tonight, we start off with some mining news. All is set for Minintra 2025, Zimbabwe's premium mining, engineering and transport expo, which kicks off in Blayo next week. Running from the 8th to the 10th of October, the event will be held under the theme Beyond Extraction, Sustaining the Future of Mining. Now, organizers say that this year's showcase will highlight two major innovations, the Buyers Program and a new virtual marketplace, which will feature structured networking sessions. So far, more than 173 exhibitors have confirmed their participation, including international companies from South Africa and China. Organizers expect the final tally to match or surpass last year's 289 exhibitors.
Yeah, we're excited that Minintra is around the corner. It's running from the 8th to the 10th of October 2025 right here in Bulawayo at the Zimbabwe International Conference and Exhibition Smart City. And we are looking forward to having a lot of exhibitors here. Last year we had about 289, and so we are moving towards that target. We keep hopeful that we'll meet that target. And we certainly hope that the expo itself will be a very successful expo that will be bringing in players in the mining industry and in the transport and engineering industry as they fit into the mining industry. We are looking forward to having quite a number of activities besides the exhibition itself.
Now, the $1 billion Runde Tende project will unlock an irrigation and commercial farming hub tipped to be bigger than landmark the Tugimukosi scheme in both scale and impact. Government and CBZ are working on transforming more than 20,000 hectares of prime agricultural land in the Lowveld Runde Tende to anchor a high-value citrus export cluster and unlock new agro-industrial value chains. Our business reporter, Melissa Chatkobo, gives us the detail.
Touted as an ambitious project, the Runde Tende is said to be bigger than Tugimukosi. While Tugimukosi enabled irrigation and domestic food security, Runde Tende goes further by focusing on high-value citrus and horticulture, which already accounts for a growing share of Zimbabwe's exports. Government, CBZ and WeBuild Group are the major partners in the project, which will transform 20,000 hectares of land into commercial agri-hubs.
The whole idea is to create a commercial agriculture hub in that area. 20,000 hectares, and we want commercial agriculture investors, be they local or international, to come through and take advantage of that.
Another advantage is infrastructure. The site is near an existing railway line, giving exporters a direct, cost-effective route to ports in Mozambique. Coupled with Afreximbank trade finance instruments, this is expected to cut turnaround times and improve liquidity for farmers.
The logistics and transport hub that has been created in that area, there's a railway line going all the way to Rutenga, which would be like 50 kilometers away from where this project is going to be. And that railway line goes all the way to Maputo. And what it has done is it has solved some of the problems that we were talking about in there, about the need for infrastructure to support trade finance.
Meanwhile, CBZ Holdings has secured about $200 million in credit lines, and Afreximbank says it plans to increase this to $500 million.
We are working hand in glove to take that to 500 million in terms of financing. So Afreximbank's mandate is to work through local banks because we cannot do it all. In fact, we are just in 6 geographies out of the 52 countries that we must be covering.
A combination of irrigated land, export-focused crops, rail-linked logistics, and structured finance could position Runde Tende Dam as a major citrus production and processing hub. If delivered as planned, it is expected to generate jobs, foreign currency, and new agro-industrial value chains for the economy. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I am Melissa Chatkobo in Harare.
Now, the battle for resources has always been a bone of contention since time immemorial. The stakes get higher if one is talking about a resource as attractive as gold. That was the case in Mvuma, where a decade ago, Duration Gold Limited faced recurrent invasions by illegal miners, whom they have since partnered with and integrated into small-scale mining syndicates. We get more on the success story at one of their claims, Anthon's Mine, where this partnership model has yielded significant results.
While the illegal mining scourge worries many former mining companies, one company is celebrating the growth of an empowerment solution that has everybody smiling. Half a decade ago, Duration Gold's run Anthon's Mine in Mvuma was in crisis. Illegal miners had run the property over, and the situation had moved to another level. The level of violence.
Failing as far as it was just getting worse and not better. The mine was spending huge sums of money on security and to no avail.
As the mining for the precious mineral intensified, mine owners had a light bulb moment. Instead of fighting the illegal miners, how about partnering with them instead? Duration started a pioneering project where they decided not to hog the rich land under their gold mining claim, opting to co-opt the illegal miners and their operations instead, resulting in them joining forces and processing the ore from the artisanals that would have been granted claims on the Duration Gold property.
We employed war veterans, women, youth, and other people who are interested to come and join Duration Gold in this strategic thing that the mine have set down and see how best they can assist the community.
The small-scale artisanal miners now sing praises for what has become a win-win program that has brought on board everyone, from older women, the youth, and veterans of the liberation struggle.
What I did, having been approached by quite a number of youth, I also thought that I should be part and parcel of that. What is now very clear is that we are moving forward in addressing the demands of the local community as far as mining is concerned.
Program yoyo kunzi uyamtore mashezi mine vanoda kuchera muchere mopota muchishaya nemine. Ndinofara zvisingatomboiti nokuti hapana munhu anongoramba achishingirira chinhu chisiri kumubatsira. Tarisai pa3 years dai zvanga zvisiri kundiitira ndakaregedza kudhara kuramba ndichingosimbirira zvinhu izvi.
Nekuoma kwezvinhu uchiona kuti hazvisi kufamba, ukwanisi kubhadhara marenzi, hausi kwanisa kubhadhara mafizi evana. Kune shamwari yangu munhurume anotoshanda muno mining akanditi chimbotiraya mining. Pandakatanga kupinda pasi tichinogara ndichitoona tabata zvimari zvishoma, ndikati kani inini mining handichamboiregi, ndakutokwanisa kubhadharawo marendi house angu, ndakubhadhara mafizi evana vangu.
Duration Gold spokesperson RGM says this model is a great lesson for others who may be struggling with illegal mining, as it offers a solution that helps communities thrive, creating a safe and peaceful business environment.
This win-win situation has seen even the poorest of the poor in our community getting a place at the table and having access to the resources in our country. This all would never have come to fruition without the assistance of our government, because at the center of our government's governing policy is a deep desire to ensure that everybody gets a place at the table. And this initiative is one such initiative that helps us achieve that. All these other entities that may have been struggling or may currently be struggling with the scourge of illegal mining can always take a page out of our book to also replicate what we did here.
This harmonious blend of community and commerce is empowering locals from veterans to youth and women, crafting a future for Zimbabwe's mining landscape.
And now for some sporting action. In our look at sport, we start off with some football. The Zimbabwe senior men's national football team head coach Michael Nees has named a 23-man squad for the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against South Africa and Lesotho during the October international window. Kama Billiard, Prince Dube and John Fabish returned to the side as they replaced Timon Machope, Tino Kadewere and Prosper Padera, whilst former Dynamos and Warriors defender Kaitano Tembo comes in as the second assistant coach. Nee says they are not experimenting going into the next games and takes full responsibility for the situation that the Warriors find themselves in as they anchor the group.
We cannot just now experiment here and there, because this would be almost interpreted as unfair competition. And we cannot afford that. FIFA is looking at us. Also, the group is so tight, it could be that maybe at the final game 4 teams are separated only by 1 goal. Imagine. So we are responsible for the situation we find ourselves, but others are responsible for their own situation. And nobody should mix that. This is a football match, especially with South Africa. There's a lot at stake. We want to represent the country with pride and with patriotism and in the best possible way against one of the top 5 teams currently in Africa. And it will be a full house packed. I think our players are tired of COVID atmosphere games there in front of 1,000 people in a 60,000 seater stadium. And but we have a full responsibility to put everything on the table. And I demand that from the players, because also it goes towards the selection to the AFCON.
7 locally based players made the cut, with Scotland providing 5 players, whilst Dynamos and Moors fill up the remaining slots. The Warriors coach bemoaned the unavailability of player data in the local league, as well as below par conditions.
Because the conditions are completely different. Starting from nutrition, training facilities, playing fields, it's a different football here. The ball is bouncing, is bumping. Basically, they all have a very good ball control, excellent. Maybe a championship team in England could not play here, because they will say, hey, I cannot play on this pitch. Whereas in the other countries, it's more a fluent passing game. The ground is wet, nice pitch. And it's always a difficult really to assess an individual player. Is it right now from this team or that team the right moment? Mauchi is very close. He was already in June there, I can say that. I had also Donald Udadi there. There's one or two players which are also close. I cannot give you also from that team, not give you the names. And even from another team where I really said, hey, is it the right time to bring? It would maybe also facilitate if the local league would have data, physical data, match data that you can really say, hey, can compare more easy.
Now, as the Zimbabwe senior men's rugby team, the Sables, continue to rise through the ranks of international rugby, their success is not just about their skill on the field of play. It's about the unwavering support that they continue to receive. We'll get more in this report.
The Zimbabwe senior men's rugby team continue reaping rewards of making the nation proud after they were given a token of appreciation by President Emerson Mnangagwa for qualifying for the 2020 Rugby World Cup. Head coach Pete Bernard believes the financial support from the president has come in handy as it has changed lives as well as inspired some to take up the sport.
Yeah, I think what people must see that having that support and the financial support for the boys is it's life-changing, to be honest. You know, a lot of the guys' lives have improved a lot dramatically because of rugby and because of the support of the president. So if that inspires more people to take part in our sport, because it's actually now a pathway towards a better life, that is excellent.
With the side having booked a ticket to the 2020 Rugby World Cup, a number of changes are expected as the Sables gear up to share the field with some of the top rugby nations.
I think there's an emotional price whether you win or lose, so certainly we had put in everything, all our effort into achieving this goal. Now we've managed to do it, so now is the next step which everybody is dealing with, but it's going to hopefully change the landscape of rugby in our country. So everything that's happened, and despite the challenges and everything, it's a massive positive for us to be able to challenge, you know, the best people, the best rugby nations in the world. For us to be rubbing shoulders with them and just putting our nation's brand at that level is amazing.
The Sables head coach is delighted with the love and support they've received across the country and believes they'll continue with their nationwide tour so as to share their success story with everyone.
We, from last year, we've been to Manicaland, you know, to play there in Mutare. We've been to Bulawayo last year with the Africa Cup of 2024. So it's not something that we would stop. So it's excellent that our boys have been able to take the trophies to all the people. You know, our country is big, it's diverse. We have people and support from all over the country. So it's very important that everybody feels part of our success. And I think that's the big driving force behind us making a big effort to be, you know, at Birchenhoff Bridge or to be at Hartsfield for their final. So those things will always be part of our mandate, it's part of our job, and it's something that we appreciate and take the responsibility for.
As the Sables start their preparations for the 2020 Rugby World Cup, major changes are expected from technical upgrades to player development as Zimbabwe gears up to leave a mark on the global stage months after conquering Africa.
And in cricket, Brian Bennett's maiden T20 international century powered Zimbabwe to a 113-run win over Tanzania in their final Group B match at the ICC Men's T20 World Cup Africa Qualifier 2025 at the Harare Sports Club today. Bennett's 113 off 60 balls is only the third T20I century by a Zimbabwean, and he joins Brendan Taylor and Skandaraza in scoring centuries for the Chevrons across all formats. The other notable contribution with the bat came from Tadiona Shimarumani, who fell agonizingly short of a half century, going for 49 before the Chevrons eventually finished on 229 for 5 in 20 overs. Now, in reply, Tanzania were bowled out for 108, with Brad Evans impressing with the ball with 4 for 16. Skandaraza 2 for 6 and Richard Ngarava 2 for 16. Now, with the win, the Chevrons top the group and will face Kenya, who finished runners-up in a Group A in Thursday's semi-final. And that's all we had for you on Newsplus this Tuesday evening. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Faith Nyaude. We leave you with the weather forecast. Good evening and enjoy the rest of your viewing.